Welcome to Loleventvods. Watch the full game of today's LTA 2025 matchup.
I mean, we had them watching the highlights. Bubba literally just said, yeah, I think the most important thing playing against them is the draft. And they cooked them in the draft in game one.
And that's one thing that Whippo was talking about when I ran into him at the after party last week too, talking about this matchup going into C9, how he was feeling, how confident he was. He was like, yeah, I think they got the better of us in drafts the past couple of times that we've met, but I think we're ready.
They took that personally.
Yeah.
Because game one, they certainly had a plan. All right, going into game number 2 here, though, with Fearless rules in operation. We are adding to the ban list from the Cloud9 side. They target ban a couple quad champs with the Casio and the Azir is more of a blanket that pretty much everybody covers. The ban's not coming up quite yet, so we'll just read the rest of them.
What do we got, Kobe?
It's just the Casio, Jace, and Azir from Cloud9's side, and the Yone, Varus, +1 here from FlyQuest side as they're doing their last ban and discussing.
Yeah, we'll get the Pigman UI back up for you guys as soon as we can. It looks like Gwen, the last one that they are considering here, and that is going to be locked in as that final ban. So one ban up towards Thanatos, banning out some more meta champs as well. And the Casio ban that has been so prevalent against Quad, it's always nice. It's something I talked to Bovo about before the series started, and just the value of having some of these champs that are so heavily associated with you that you're always drawing bans. It allows you to have some of these meta champs much more up and available.
Okay, so we've got the Xin Zhao first lock in here for C9 and for Blabber. I feel like we always talk about both these teams so often in terms of how much they rely on their junglers to be an engine early game and get things rolling. And Blabber just never really got things rolling in game number 1. The early invade, the constant stealing of chickens. And also looking over here for FlyQuest, we've got the Nico locked in immediately. This was banned in the first round of picks in the previous game.
Exactly. And I'm expecting this one to go to Busio. I've been seeing him play a lot of this. He is very adept on the pick. Of course, there is potential of a flex, and I feel like after what happened to you in game 1, you're a little bit traumatized. You're a little bit like, wait, where could that go? Like, is that mid lane? Is that top lane? Is that... so they're going to be keeping it in mind. But Nico plus Pantheon, we are assuming this is going to be the support jungle duo, and it is going to be Melio Lucian for Sven and Vulcan, something that we've been seeing gain some popularity here in the LTA.
I mean, I'm excited to see this now because this is a lot of confidence. You know, you're slamming down a Lucian pick. You do have safety with Melio, but you're already seeing a lot of CC on the side of FlyQuest, and so the Melio ultimate is guaranteed to get value, even just seeing 2 picks from FlyQuest. So already you can, back basically throwing down this this combo. It is also worth noting Xin got a little tiny nerf on this patch with the armor, but still very good skirmishing champ. He basically operates exactly as he operated before.
Whenever we talk about Nico, we talk about how the champion needs to have high value in the ultimate, in the team fights to really contribute to the team. Well, hey, if Nico puts down a giant circle that says all your guys are CC'd, why not counter it with a giant circle that says no, they're not? The Melio pick is the counter to the Nico.
You just have to make sure that the Melio is not in the initial circle.
Right, yeah, we don't want Melio to get caught in that, because otherwise he might die instantly before he really gets to do a whole lot.
That can be problematic.
On the other side, though, the answer to the Lucian here is the Kaisa. So we've got both of our marksmen decided. Presumably, both of our supports and jungles decided as well.
And I will say, Thanatos' job becomes pretty hard here. You know, if they throw a couple more bans towards Thanatos, Whippo has last pick on red side. So you're going to be blinding here against Whippo. He said, my job is to neutralize Thanatos in the laning phase. Game 1, we'll give that a check. That was a success. Game 2, how are you going to create a big advantage as Thanatos when you're having to blind here and you're getting banned? So he's going to be banning out some of these neutralizing champs, like the Scion. The Scion will be banned out, but you can continue to target him from FlyQuest side if there's anything else they're really worried about. And they're going to ban out the Galio. So interesting that they're going to be looking towards that.
Yeah, I mean, if we're running down the Thanatos favorite champions, the Renekton as well as the Camille are like the 2 other most prominent ones that he does play. So it'll be interesting to see what he goes down to, because that is a really big conversation with these 2 top laners. It's kind of the giant pool of Whippo.
The Galio one's so interesting to me because obviously Thanatos, we did see him play 1 game on it. He looked good on it. But generally it's used as an answer to the Rumble. The Rumble's already gone with Fearless bans. So maybe they're thinking that it would just be powerful because of, all of this engage that they have and the potential of the Rise. So Rise going to get banned out as well, taking that away from Quad.
Yeah, they're a little bit worried about some split push from FlyQuest already. I guess anytime there's like a Pantheon ultimate, you have to be a little bit more careful of your side lanes. So the Renekton is left up, and it's taken away by FlyQuest themselves. Whipple going to opt to blind pick.
Exactly. They're not going to leave that there as the counter on Red 5 for Bwipo going into Thanatos. Instead, they want to give the final pick of the draft to Quad in the mid lane.
And I think it makes sense. You know, you were talking about it, Kobe. The two kind of big champions that he had less, that he likes to play a lot, Renekton and Camille. And Camille generally is not going to be doing very well early against the Renekton. It's much more of a scaling pick. So if Whipple says, all my job is to neutralize you, then blinding the Renekton makes a lot of sense here. But Thanatos is going to go a very different direction, a scaling direction. He's going to go towards the Ornn. He can be the neutralizing factor up in that top lane and look to be that X factor in the team fights, have that big engage for the squad. And they're going to pair it with the Ahri. So Ahri, Xin Zhao, a lot of skirmishing power. The carries, not necessarily the best scaling carries, I would say, on the side of C9, but they do have good engage. They do have this Enchanter support. And it is going to be a pretty spicy game because both sides, there's not like a tremendous amount of scaling.
In general, I agree with you. The carry's not scaling super high on the C9 side, but from the words of Sven himself, if he managed to acquire a Korean passport between the last time that we've seen him play Lucian and now, he might just have the ability to scale, since we know that Lucian scales so heavily off of player skill.
It's true, but there's 2 point-and-click stuns on the other team and 2 follow-up CCs there with the Nico route as well as the Silas chains, and that is going to make it so hard. I mean, you do have the Emilio for safety to try to knock back these melee champions off you. You have the Emilio shields, you have Emilio cleanse. He's probably going to have to play cleanse as well. But even with all that, it is tough because you can cleanse the CC, you can't cleanse the damage.
Yeah, and he's also going to have to be good with his kickbacks on the balls because there's a lot of people that are going to be
like
dashing
the
in.
real life animation you did there.
Yeah,
Kobe's ready.
Too bad the fans didn't get the didn't get the visual on that one. But Emilio is a very good disengaged champion. But as you say, if you have threats coming from all sides, can't actually peel them all. I will say though, Thanatos on the Ornn, they're opting for him to go for a tank status. He is 8 Ornn games total in his career. He has 50% win rate.
Okay.
4-4, has been okay with it. But that is going to be a much more kind of standard setup look to have a really beefy front line for them and be able to hand out those ornaments later on.
Non-subscribers will see you guys in 30 seconds, but I agree with you, Kobe. I think that this is not the style you generally expect from Thanatos. You think you want to see that lane domination. You think you want to see this threat coming from the top side, and now it's his job to play a more supportive role while what I expect to be the Lucian Melio lane getting most of the attention.
I mean, I think it's really interesting here, right? Because Whipple's read is, I just have to neutralize. Well, job is kind of already done from draft,
yeah,
right?
He's Ornn.
And
he's neutralized.
now it's Thanatos' draft. It's C9's job to be able to actually prove that that's not enough. Just holding Thanatos down in lane, making him not get a big lead there, is not a guaranteed victory. They need to show that they can actually just have him scaling and playing these different styles and having the team show up and carry as well.
All right, let's do it. Game number 2. C9 does not want to allow this one to get away from them as quickly as game number 1 did. It was really that first fight in the bottom side river where they lost a 3-for-1 against FlyQuest, and after that, they just never recovered. That was the last kill Cloud9 got in the entire game. The only kills they got were the overextended Bwipo proxy farm at level 3, and then the one kill that they got in the 3-for-1 in the bot side river. That's it for the entire game.
When you say it like that,
it's look, man, I got it. It's tough love, all right? I want our good teams to be good.
I heard the tough, I didn't hear the love.
Well, they're going to have to earn that part. So let's see if they can do that here in this second game.
So I do want to point out that both Inspired and Busio are starting with sweepers this time around. So they did have some options for some early, invades and early plays, but a lot of times junglers will start with the sweeper when they just want to clear out any Raptor wards and don't want their early path scouted. So I'm very curious to see where Inspire does go with this Pantheon because there's a lot of options.
We can see the differences in champion pool here that we're going to have to add the Ornn in on the Thanatos side after this one, as that is a new champion for him. They do just have that Renekton and Galio shared. The Galio is banned. He takes away the Renekton. A lot of these champs have it already taken off the table, so really trying to thin the pool for Thanatos. Bwipo has been the guy who has really been cooking on all these different picks. Thanatos is expanding that pool, and we'll see if he really can show up, and more importantly, if Cloud9 can take advantage of it, because no matter how well you play on Ornn, you're not getting the game across the finish line. You're just kind of that force multiplier. You're setting up your teammates. You're giving them the ornaments. Loki and Sven are going to have to do a lot of the heavy carrying.
Yep, taking a look at all three of our lanes right now. Loki does have the early push here in mid, as you would expect with the range versus melee matchup. Down there in bottom lane, things pretty even as both sides continue trading back and forth here a little bit. Is important to also note that Quad does have one of those S-tier defensive ultis to steal as this game goes on with the Xin Zhao, with that crescent sweep. Makes it very, very easy for him to dive in with impunity in these fights and really put the pressure on those carries that you're talking about, Isaac, that need to perform for C9.
Look at the pressure that is already being put on Bwipo up on that top side. He's already used his potion. He's quite low. Thanatos does still have a biscuit and a potion. He just now popped that potion. So, he has been chunking Bwipo pretty low, and this is considered to be a pretty good matchup, into that Renekton. You can neutralize the early game. You can heavily outscale in the team fight. And Thanatos and Blabber are going to be kind of these guys who I think are trying to just block up a lot of these melee champions that are going to be trying to pile in on Sven and Loki and Vulcan and making their jobs really difficult. And I think that Xin Zhao can really excel at that.
Definitely agree there. Xin Zhao himself finished up the red, and so Blabber's heading over to the Crabber to meet Inspired, but Inspired's already there, and the Smite advantage is Inspired, so he should have that one as top lane trading gets kind of dicey.
Okay, Monster's down to 150 HP down here in the bottom lane. Though also worth pointing out, just something a little bit different from usual. Masu with the exhaust on the Kai'Sa. Generally the AD carries running barrier or heal or cleanse, something purely defensive. Exhaust, still a defensive summoner, but can also be used more aggressively.
So Blabber won the crab fight on the bottom side because their bottom lane moves up as well, and he's also going to get the top side one. Blabber in double crab games is a force to be reckoned with.
What is the win rate for Blabber in double crab games?
1,000%.
1,000%?
Yeah, he wins 10 times every time that happens.
Whoa.
This is kind of a surf and turf jungle series because the first game Inspired has taken all the land critters with the chickens, and now Blabber's got total control of the crabs in game number 2. It's just which part of the menu are you trying to eat from?
Well, Cloud9, they've dedicated themselves to the crabber lifestyle.
Okay.
They've got
seafood.
They have dedicated merch for it. Yeah. FlyQuest have no chicken merch,
Oh, true.
So they're
They
gonna
have an in-game emote.
yeah, exactly. They're gonna have to step up the FlyQuest chicken game. Blabber, though, this time around on his first reset is going to get jumped on by Inspired.
Inspired jumping in there, but critically, Blabber ends up getting the kill on the Gromp, despite the fact that Inspired tried to smite it. He smites it a little bit too early, and Blabber's pet plus red buff tick ends up killing it, so he does not lose the golden EXP on that.
Crab.
So now we know. Because the frogs are aquatic, and you're like, oh, is it land or is it sea?
Well, it's still seafood.
It is sea.
It counts. Yeah, we've
crabs
got
and frogs.
Cloud9 only is eating water critters today in the jungle. As FlyQuest, I like that Inspired goes for that move. Unfortunately for him, just a fraction of a health bar separates that from really working out or not. As Thanatos honestly doing a great job in this top lane matchup. Like you guys have already talked about, he's dead even on the farm. He's surviving the early Renekton.
And you can see Bwipo not that concerned about it, though. He went Cull, and if you watch Bwipo's stream, this guy is a Cull enthusiast. He's going to be buying on every champ. If he feels like the game is just going to be a chill farm lane, he's not going to be able to push the pressure, then he's just going to sit back. He's going to farm. He's going to try to get those advantages. But they're going for the all-in.
Ooh, flash out from Thanatos. Summons up the second part of the Oran Horn, but he's completely out of mana. He cannot continue chasing after Bwipo, even if he wanted to try to combo those double brittle procs. So Bwipo gets himself back away. It's ult for ult, flash for flash up there in the top lane, as C9 trying to clear out some of the vision of the FlyQuest bot lane duo down here. And I mentioned the bot lane duo specifically because of the fact that last game we had already swapped our bot lane duos up to top side at this point, not in game 2.
This is actually really big for Thanatos. He just got the honey fruit. Bwipo actually went to try to check for it, didn't see it, and didn't go all the way down. And then Thanatos goes over.
Ooh, Quad in some danger here as Loki jumps forward using the flash to try to get this combo started, but it doesn't quite work. So Quad can disengage. Flash still intact.
Okay, I want to see Inspired go for some ganks here. There's no flash or ult on the Ahri, and that is into a Sylas lane, and the Sylas having flash advantages. Really good setup. First up, though, is the Dragon. After they're resetting and running back from base, both Inspired and Quad on the way. Blabber working on this Dragon. It's kind of annoying to work on Ocean Dragons because of the slow of the auto attack, but they're burning it down quickly.
Inspired's on the way, ready to come here for the smite fight. Immediately stolen away by Inspired. It's tragedy for Blabber as Quad is ready to chase him down over the wall. He goes, and the first blood, the first objective, boom! both go to FlyQuest.
Oh, that is so painful for Blabber and Cloud9. The earlier reset from Quad, because Loki used everything and then stayed to finish off that minion wave, Loki was still in base, and so the earlier reset comes from Quad and Inspired getting there just in time, Flowers. They steal it, and then they kill him.
Yeah, that's rough. I mean, he spends so much time working this dragon down, and not going to really be, let's see, 860 W smite. Wow, it was down to 575, so you almost had that perfectly timed. The W damage would have been perfect on it, but Inspired just snuck that smite in between.
Nicely done from Inspired and FlyQuest, immediately starting off the first real opportunity for a scrap the right way. And once again, look at Inspired. He's always in Blabber's face. They're recognizing that they have this topside pressure from Whippo to play off of. Thanatos is always forced underneath the turret. He's always having to spend cooldowns to trade with the Renekton. And so Inspired and Quad can use their advantage now, force their way into the enemy jungle, steal away not just the Gromp, but the blue buff too.
Okay, Gromp, blue buff, and dragon.
Everything.
All taken away.
All the
here.
stuff. The frog, the rock, and the lizard. All of it.
They're getting
whole
payment
habitat
for those early frogs. The grubs, though, being started up as a big chunk onto Loki here.
Okay, Loki down to 1/3 HP. Yeah, he's still got Spirit Rush, but you really don't want to be joining in a whole lot of fights on low HP here with the Ahri. And yeah, FlyQuest now with total control over this topside river, feeling great about starting up the grubs. The first was already taken by C9 though, so C9 at least they don't have to give away the ability to spawn the little Void Mites this game. They've got that at least in their pocket, but FlyQuest are still going to get credit for 2 out of 3.
Yeah, that's still really, really good. Just go aggressive mid lane. Loki didn't want to use the Spirit Rush because he's saying, I need to have this if we're going to fight. But if you don't use the Spirit Rush, you lose your health. You can't fight anyway. And down on the bot side, Thanatos went down there. He was actually just swapping him down and is going to be able to try to get the push as Whippo was looking to match over by those grubs. But does have a nice advantage. He's looking for it all in.
Okay, Whippo immediately starts it off the Empowered call to Meek. Now the slice, where's the dice? Nice stun, and Inspired shows up to say TY for kill, stabs him in the back real quick, and it's easy peasy for FlyQuest, second kill of the game.
Yes, I love those Pantheon ults in the arrival. Whippo's like, all right, got him. The long lane, there's no way he gets away. I've got my ult. I saved my stun for his second activation of Ornn Ultimate, and Pantheon.
Pantheon comes in, pokes him in the butt.
Great job, top laner.
It was absolutely necessary. You have to understand. He was going to get away every single time.
It's about the assist gold. You know, it's better for the team.
And I also love, you mentioned how Whippo is saving the stun for the second half of the Ornn ulti. Also, just in the general trading pattern from Renekton into Ornn, because of he has that little Thorn Vest thing. So here it is again with Whippo stunning him up. Beautiful, perfect. There's Inspired. Doink. But when you have that Thorn Vest on the Ornn, hold on.
Fighting bot, he should be going.
You can have the kill.
I guess you didn't need me.
I mean, yeah, it's good. It's good anyway. I mean, better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
He got cocky, that guy, so I had to punish him, you know?
Xin Zhao should...
A generous top laner.
He got cocky, that guy. He had to
Treating
punish
his
him.
jungler well.
You can have the kill. Okay.
I can respect it. You know, sometimes that's the key. You give your jungler the first kill, and then they come back. You know, you build that rapport.
I like it. I like it. Honestly, the assist money is a good argument. I use that one all the time, too. Get some more.
Oh, that's the default.
It's for the team,
yeah,
you know?
that's the go-to. You
Better
get less
income.
money for the team.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what it's got to be.
Team player.
Nah, I don't want that.
Clearly, someone here doesn't jungle enough. To be fair, you're like the only person I know that willingly plays top lane. So it works out.
Yeah, true. We were talking about Kobe enjoying pain, but I do play top lane, so. Oh, Quad hits him.
Okay, Quad lands the second part of the abscond abduct. Easy land there for a fast trade on Loki.
And gotta say, Whippo's now opened up a pretty big advantage. He has the early Black Cleaver. He took 2 plates top, took a plate bot after that kill. So even though he didn't get the kill, he's up 800 gold. And when you get that Black Cleaver completed, that is pretty rough now for Thanatos, who is going to be absolutely on the back foot in this matchup for quite a while.
So what's the play here for C9? Because we're already starting to bleed out a little bit. It's not as bad as the previous game. Masu trying to get away there from the calling. Counter engage from Busio. Flash forward for the double pop. Blossom. But Vulcan frees everybody up there with the breath of life. They can escape in time as Blabber wants to go in. Get a counter kill there on Busio, but he ain't going to find it. Inspired, ready to fight back. They force out the Xin Zhao ulti as Blabber disengages.
It does cost a flash there from Blabber, but the initial play was great. It only was just ult from C9. C9, and they got the flash, they got the ignite, or excuse me, the heal out of Busio, the ulti. So are going to be able to actually force some sums. Plays like that will go a long way to kind of clawing their way back into this game. I think for C9, you're kind of already opted into this game plan that you can't really now change. You're just waiting, you're scaling, and you're hoping that you're going to be able to show up at a team fight and just have a successful 5v5.
Nice little movement from Whippo there, faking like he was going to walk up to the Demolish proc so that Thanatos would bang his head into the tower in complete uselessness, and instead just pulls it back for a second, gets his free demo proc anyway, and walks away with the plate money. Meanwhile, Inspired secures that second Drake of the game for FlyQuest. Since they got 2 out of 3 grubs, that's the neutral objective feat, and one more kill will lock them in the empowered boots yet again. Whippo not really looking for a full-on kill here, just trying to use the dominance, get this wave all shoved up, but he may have gone a little bit too far. Thanatos flashing forward so that Whippo cannot possibly interrupt the second cast of the Ornhorn, and now Whippo's got to get all the way away. Thanatos, there's no way to kill the Renekton at that distance with that mana, with him at that health, so Whippo's just fine, and he might just be sticking around. He knows that Thanatos doesn't have a lot of mana to combo him with.
Yeah, nice attempt there from Thanatos. Because Whippo went aggressive, as soon as he uses the W there, like, you know, you go aggressive in these trades, you know, I can actually try to turn around and combo you back. Oh, here comes Pantheon.
There's Inspired. This time, I think they might actually need the Pantheon. Inspired starts it up. Whippo shuts it down. He hands the kill back. Everything's even Stevens, and FlyQuest has their boots.
Whippo was trying to play it like he was giving it to him just for his own benefit. No.
You called it. You called it. Give the jungler a kill. He'll come back and pay you in full. Really good stuff there, and that's also going to have bigger repercussions because
a bone, give a jungler a kill.
There you go. You also get turret plates.
Am I wrong?
Yes, we're not dogs. But he's going to get a tower as well. It's the turret plate money, and he's going to get the actual tower itself. So first turret doesn't even matter because they already had the feats, but it does matter because you get the solo gold onto the Renekton. More return on your investment.
Nicely done there from FlyQuest, now ballooning what was a 1.2 thousand gold lead into a 3,000 gold lead. They've got everything in this game. It's looking so much like the first one, man. FlyQuest have C9 figured out.
I will say, though, the difference this time is that the gold is all isolated in one person. It is all Whippo, right? So if Whippo is stuck in a side lane with Thanatos and you can have a 4v4, the 4v4 is actually very, very even and super winnable for Cloud9. And eventually, you know, Thanatos will still outscale, will still have those ornaments coming through. So honestly, I still like their position in this game much more than the last, where there was advantages everywhere, it felt like. So, you know, Whippo, he has pressure on him to continue extending that advantage. You know, he is their gold lead.
Exactly. That is a Renekton with Black Cleaver and Spear of Shojin both completed before 15 minutes on the clock. If he does make it into a team fight, he is pure raid boss status. It is so hard for the C9 roster to deal with this guy. But they're going to go ahead and start up the Rift Herald themselves, see if maybe they can start clawing their way back into the game with this one. They've got it down to about half HP. Nico Clone going to lead the scouting efforts here as Busio thinks about going a little bit further forward, but now Whippo's ready to try to join the fight. Blabber is already down. Inspired stays alive with a Pantheon shield and now continues leading the charge as Whippo and Thanatos scrap off to the side. I think it might have been the Busio clone that ate most of that culling as Thanatos tries to get away back over the wall here. C9 has been scattered. Their jungler has been killed. It's another fight that completely collapses.
So Blabber goes in there because Loki hit a nice charm interrupting Quad's dash, but as soon as Blabber dashes in, he just gets blasted immediately by the other members of FlyQuest. They CC him, immediately kill him, and continue their neutral objective dominance here. The Rift Herald also picked up in the aftermath, means they can get more turrets, open up the rest of them, and the Pantheon's going to have the entire map now to play with.
I mean, Blabber just got blasted by this point and click CC. He couldn't even get his Crescent Guard off, you know? They do hit this charm that you're talking about, and then he's going to look to go in right off of this. But as he goes forward, point and click, stun, follow up with the chain, the root. He never gets to move. He didn't get the Crescent Guard off. He's taking all that damage. He just gets absolutely exploded. They wanted to try to force the fight before Whippo arrived, see if they could get a kill, but they couldn't pull it off.
Sometimes
He said
you
a
need
lot with
no
his eyes.
words. As Quad needs no words here, going after Loki. Just a little bit more damage will get it done, but Loki has just enough mobility with that last charge to get away. But again, its tools always having to be spent by C9 just to survive. Flash for flash there between the mid laners, and Loki at least walks away from it. But FlyQuest with a 4,000 gold lead. You guys are right, it was Quad eating most of that culling damage in the previous fight, but again, close isn't good enough for C9 in these games. You're starting to get to the point where you will be missing out on kills, where you will end up dying in situations you otherwise wouldn't, just because the gold is so far out of control.
And I don't really know who they can even pick at this point, because even hitting a charm with people there, like this FlyQuest squad are playing as a group.
Oh, Busio with the flash. Pop Blossom finds two as Quad and Whippo are ready to swoop in and follow up. Blabber down again. The Xin Zhao just not tanky enough, but Whippo's eating a bunch of damage in the back half of the fight. Inspired ready to cover for him, and Thanatos drops. It's a 6-0 game for FlyQuest. They are making C9 look easy this series.
They certainly are. They're going to put an early end to this series, Flowers. Dragon number 3 picked up. It is 6-0. The only thing Cloud9 have gotten was the one grub, and the game is trying to help them out. The objective bounty shutdowns have arrived for C9. Here's another look at Busio's engage on the Nico. He has been so good with it. He's gone to try and get Vulcan in every one of his attempts, using every little bit of mobility to get just that far enough.
Yeah, I mean, they go in, they get the flashes, but they still actually connect on Vulcan. Vulcan had a nice little cue back on Whippo as he arrives to keep Sven active. But the reality is, even once Thanatos arrives, he goes in like he's going to do something. He just gets absolutely deleted. He is paper at this point. Had no MR really before that fight, just the Merc Treads. Now he picks up an extra null magic mantle. But there's, a fair bit of magic damage coming out between Busio and Quad, plus all these physical damage dealers are so far ahead, and there's the Black Cleaver on Whippo. So he is looking like paper, and I pushed back before saying it was still closer than last game. Well, now the leads are expanding across the map, and now the leads are everywhere, and this gold lead is kind of getting out of control, plus it's Cloud Soul in 4 minutes.
And for Cloud9, who has to kill someone is a Lucian and an Ahri. And the Lucian and Ahri are not looking very effective at all, with 0 kills so far for them. Like, you really are going to have to pick somebody off and get an opportunity where you surprise a member of FlyQuest. But this FlyQuest team has not been making a lot of errors. When they move into enemy territory, it's at least with 2 of them, usually full 3-pack of them, and Whippo's under the tower.
He flashes in for the stun with the dominance, and immediately Vulcan and Sven are killed before they can do anything. You can see Vulcan cast Breath of Life, but it doesn't even matter. Yeah, you're going to get a little bit of healing, but the CC break won't be in time to save you from what FlyQuest is bringing to the table. Whippo tanking the turret there for a couple of seconds. The Herald already gets the first charge. Are they going to go for the second? No reason not to. Inspired's ready to drive that thing straight into the heart of the tier 2 turret. Loki and Blabber both still hanging around. Wind becomes lightning, but who cares? Not FlyQuest. These guys can't do nothing to them.
Wind or lightning, not
the
afraid of any
is
weather.
Not a concern for FlyQuest. They are the nature team, and they are having a great time. 7,500 gold up, 20 minutes into the game, 8 kills to a big fat donut.
The clouds are looking scary up there, but that's all. There's no threat behind it. 0 kills here, no threat from any of the carries. Let's see what happens next as they try and find somewhere on the map.
All right, 20 minutes on the clock, which means Otacon has spawned, which has triggered a special Uber Eats offer that you can check out in chat or the Twitch extension. So if you're looking to get as fed as FlyQuest is, hit that up. C9 right now,
they could probably order now. This one doesn't look like it's going to take too much more time.
I would say it'll probably be here by the time the game's wrapped up, because they are making such fast work of C9 in this game, and FlyQuest isn't even waiting. They are immediately starting up the Otacon. All 5 players on C9 are alive. FlyQuest knows they are so far ahead that if Cloud9 marches over here to stop them, it's going to be a funeral procession for the Cloud9 squad. Easy Otacon, no contest for FlyQuest.
Boys, where did it all go wrong? I was so excited for this matchup. I was like, our top 2 teams, it's going to be a banger. But FlyQuest came in with such good preparation. They have not made any mistakes, it feels like. They have just been slamming Cloud9. They've been playing so well. FlyQuest, they truly look like they wanted revenge from the other games that we have had this year, because you remember in the best of 1, in split number 2, Cloud9 actually won. In split number 1, their best of 3, Cloud9 actually won that one.
Yep.
And so FlyQuest, it almost feels like they marked this on their calendar and they have been prepping and prepping and prepping, and it has paid off.
And I would say it didn't go wrong anywhere for FlyQuest. That's the thing. I mean, they have just dominated both of these 2 games, and I really feel like, you know, in the content, we saw Boba talking about the draft. In the interview with him, he talked about how he just needs to kind of neutralize Thanatos. It has looked to be pretty true. You know, they just focused on being able to shut him down, and he has done more than neutralize him. He's put him in the dirt in this one. He blind picked the Renekton. Thanatos' answer was the Ornn, albeit obviously it's not for the lane matchup, it's more for the team, but they haven't really been able to get a foot in, it feels like, anywhere.
And I also got to give praise to the jungle. I feel like Blabber has just been totally invisible in both of these games so far. Obviously, in the first game, the early invade set him behind, kind of messed up his tempo a little bit, and then he got back in through that kill on the Whippo overextension. But now in this game, he's 0-3-0 on a character that you draft for his early and mid-game presence, his skirmishing capability, right? And it's just not there. I feel like Inspired is definitely the better jungler today.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And their team overall, too, has really been playing to it to keep Blabber down and take away options. I feel like FlyQuest in both games have come in with plans to try and control Blabber. Quad as well has been playing really well. A lot of these playmakers. The Annie was a cool pick, but also on this Silas, you know, timing his recall with Inspire to go with him, help out with some of the steals. Cloud9, though, they've got one more chance here. Cloud Soul is on the menu, and FlyQuest trying to save the game.
Okay, Whippo just hit level 16 while I was pushing up in the top lane. That might have been what he was going for, and yes, the teleport is about to arrive right now, as Inspired immediately jumps in, and Sven has already lost half HP. The Dragon down to 3,000, but Inspired might just be killed. Boost here with a pop blossom for the save. Inspired goes back in, he wants to try to find the smite, and he got it! They're not even gonna kill him! Everybody on C9 is already dead! This one's all but over. Whippo's gonna chase down the last man, and Quad's not gonna let him have it without an assist. It's a 5-for-nothing ace. It's a Dragon Soul. It's all FlyQuest, all series long.
13-0, they get the soul. They're up 11K. FlyQuest are leaving no doubt whatsoever who the best team in the LTA is.
They are so locked in. All right, let's take another look at it. Uber Eats delivery here. Cloud9, you know the reason they make this choice. They're desperate at this point. They're falling so far behind. They just have to fight on the soul, so they go for it. They call in the Ornn ultimate, but in the back of the pit there, Quad is 2v1 versus the bottom lane, while Busio goes and gets his lockup on the rest of the squad on the other side. Quad, by the way, won the 2v1 in the back of the Dragon pit.
They work.
Annihilating both of them. And so FlyQuest will be able to take their victory march straight into the FlyQuest base.
You can see Nuke Duck talking to Mithy here, so we're going to be higher in the standings, and they're going to be lower.
That's where I picked the Renekton.
Sven tries to get away from Whippo. Whippo is 1 versus 3, and he's forcing them to run away as he nearly one-shots both Sven and Loki. Goes back in over the wall. Whippo might be the first kill C9 gets all game. Takes 1 turret shot there at the very end. Stealing away the Ornn ultis for the double kill on both carries. Runs over Loki and Sven. FlyQuest has forced their way into the enemy base, and no C9 carries are alive. Thanatos goes for an R2, but it does not matter. Now he only bonks a clone, and FlyQuest have the first inhibitor about to drop. The second inhibitor turret is falling at the same time. C9 carries are still 20 seconds out.
Quad is the GOAT for that one. He is styling on them inside their own base, taking away their Ornn ultimate. Oh my goodness. Cloud9 don't have a lot left to defend, but they're going to try.
Yeah, they're going to try, but FlyQuest looking like the Harlem Globetrotters out here, man. They're just dancing around, jumping in and out of the base, killing you with your own ultis. It is looking tough.
It's a 16-0 game with a 16,000 gold lead at 26 minutes into the game. If this is solo queue, you already FF'd minutes ago. This is just such a impossible position to play for C9.
It's okay. Ornn has an ornament. Scaling.
Okay, we have one
Or
ornament.
scaling.
One ornament for the tree. As FlyQuest are just shoving down that last remaining lane of turrets. They've already got 2 inhibs down. They've still got their Baron for a little bit longer here, and we're going to see them just continue to use that. Whippo pops the dominance. It's time to go. Inspired lands with a grand starfall, and Thanatos is dead by the time he does. Inhibitor turret number 3 is out of there as FlyQuest continue their push forward. They'll take out the third inhib. You've got the super minions from lanes 1 and 2 already crashing into the Nexus turrets now, and FlyQuest are ready to keep it going. First Nexus turret already about to fall. C9. What? What?
Nah.
Now? What?
Oh, Busio DC'd, it looks like. Count the 1 grub as making a not perfect game, but we are back.
Oh, they do get a shutdown though. Quad dies right there at the very end, which will be the 1 kill of the game given over to, or wait, is that even showing up on the scoreboard? Never mind, Quad is already down as C9 scrambles to try to defend Pop Blossom onto the remaining defenders of C9. Sven is dead back into the fountain steps. FlyQuest 20-2 will dominate this series and secure first seed heading into playoffs.
That is your best team in the LTA.